Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's Cupid back with another Cupid Draft League recap. This one is for week 10. I know it has been over a week since I have recorded one of these, and there's good reason behind that. So basically, week 10 needed 2 extensions, including in my own match, which is, you know, the one versus Zexel. And yeah, I was giving everyone as much time to get their matches done as possible, but tragically, it has now been an extra week since week 10. We are actually at the finish of week 11 already, if you can believe it. And yeah, I'm basically gonna just get through the recording of week 10. This is not on Twitch. As you can see, there is no chat above me, and I also don't have my stream overlay on. So, yeah, basically what's going on here is that we are about to simply run it. We are gonna just run it. That's the whole plan, is that we are going to run it. And yeah, that's really all that's going on here. So, first match of the recap, we have Timberwolfie versus Antkiller. You know, playoff implications with this one. Timba is hanging on by a thread as far as getting into playoffs is concerned, and Antkiller is solidly in. If Timba is defeated, this could go very, very poorly. So, let's just go ahead and start the match, yeah? So Antkiller does the standard Antkiller and leads Skarmory, gets thunderbolted by Rotom Heat, brought down to Sturdy, gets up those rocks, and honestly this is just really bad for Antkiller, as Rotom's gonna probably Thunderbolt again on the switch, and that does half to Tyrantrum, which is kind of absurd, but it's Scarf Tyrantrum with Head Smash, which removes the Rotom, and those rocks are now gonna be permanently on Timba's side of the field. Crawdaunt comes in, clicks Aqua Jet, finishing off the Skarmory, and Aqua Jet again drops the Butterfree to exactly 1%, and Timberwolfie dodges Sleep Powder with Compound Ice, which is a very, very unlikely chance. Now, Incineroar is going to come in, scaring out the Crawdaunt, and Incineroar is going to go for Fake Out on the Rocky Helmet Empoleon that Timberwolfie brings in, and that's just really bad for him. And Empoleon comes in, and it happens to be a defogging Empoleon, which is not standard for Timba, I don't believe. Now we're going to go into our Tangrowth to force out the Ditto on the Empoleon, and we're going to knock off that heavy-duty boots from the Incineroar, hurting its longevity in this game. Now Empoleon just needs to get off rocks. Empoleon's going to come in and try to do that, but it takes the knockoff and then a Flare Blitz and faints. But now Crawdaunt's going to come in, and at this point Aqua Jet should KO, or 2-hit KO most of this team. We go for knockoff, knocking off Ditto's Scarf. And then we get our band knocked off as we lose the speed tie, but then we do kill the Ditto here, which is very, very strong. At this point, I don't think Aqua Jet KOs this Incineroar, but I guess we can find out. Timberwolfie is staying in, clicking Aqua Jet. That does about 19% to Tyrantrum, so it probably would not have killed Incineroar. And in comes Tangrowth on Tyrantrum's Head Smash, which does, in fact, 2-hit KO the Tangrowth. Screamtail's gonna come in and also get Head Smash for 1,000,000 damage, but we do pick up the KO on Tyrantrum. And at this point, Timberwolfie is looking like he's got a problem. How do we defeat the Mimikyu without losing? Well, we go for Wish on our Screamtail, and we get knocked off and die. In comes Crawdaunt, needs to kill this Aqua Jet, and it does. Fantastically, we're gonna heal to nearly full with Aqua Jet, and all we have to do is, you know, not blunder the game. We go for knockoff, removing the Mimikyu's item, and Player Up is gonna kill, and yeah, at this point, the Mimikyu just wins the game. It's gonna be faster than Como, and this definitely kills. Antkiller is able to clutch up with the Mimikyu. Basically what needed to happen was that after the knockoff, you needed to Aqua Jet the Mimikyu and get a crit, and it just wasn't very likely. So Antkiller gets game 1 over Timba. Let's see what happens game 2. This time Antkiller leads with the Tyrantrum, as Rotom is led. We instantly go into the Tangrowth, which takes half from Head Smash, and then takes 48% from the second Head Smash, just to get off an Earthquake that unfortunately doesn't do enough. And now we go into probably Rocky Helmet Empoleon. Yep, it's still Rocky Helmet. Just to get that good chip off on the Tyrantrum, we go for Flash Cannon as Skarmory comes in, and we get the special defense drop, which is really crucial. Because if we had Scald, we would have been able to Scald and do a lot of damage. But it does not seem like that's the case. Rotom's going to come in, take a Body Press very easily, kill with Thunderbolt, very good stuff. We're going to go into Empoleon on the Tyrantrum again, and yeah, Rocky Helmet, and yeah, Rocky Helmet again. And we pick up the KO on Tyrantrum, very strong so far. Alright, now Butterfree comes in, puts the Empoleon to sleep. That's fine, this is a dead Pokemon anyway. We need to switch into Rotom and click an attack. All we need to do is click an attack. Butterfree is very fragile, and Butterfree goes for Hurricane, doesn't kill the Rotom. Rotom does not hurt itself in its confusion, but it clicks Trick, giving the Butterfree a choice specs. Screamtail's gonna switch in and be slower after Quiver Dance. Como's gonna come in and take a crit on the switch and a special defense drop. I don't think it mattered. But yeah, Como's gonna die, and Aqua Jet Crawdon's gonna come in and not KO. And it looks like Timberwolfie lost to Butterfree. Yikes. Yeah, I don't know why Timba decided to try and trick the Butterfree instead of Specs Thunderbolting whatever came in. Even tricking Specs on anything that comes in is not desirable. Like, the only thing you want to trick Choice Specs to is, like, reasonably Incineroar. Or maybe, like, the Mimikyu. But, like, Trick there is just so not desirable. Like, why would Antkiller want to keep Butterfree alive? Either way, huge blunder on Timba's part. It is what it is. It happens to the best of us. And Timberwolfie is defeated 2-0 by Antkiller, which is not a good sign for Timba's playoff bracket potential. Next up, we have Bento Box versus Kiwi. Finally, a match that Bento Box reasonably should win, and I'm really hopeful that Kiwi wins because that would be really funny. But let's see what happens. Alright, so Kiwi leads with Chandelure. Bento leads Blastoise. Kiwi goes for Shadow Ball instantly. Blastoise uses Shell Smash, and Kiwi probably just loses the game at this point. Surf kills Chandelure very easily. But the Blastoise has Life Orb. Ice Beam kills Roserade very easily. Dark Pulse kills Starmie very easily. Flygon is slower and dies to Ice Beam very easily. Kiwi finally goes into the correct Pokemon and clicks Protect, which doesn't do anything here. And now Bento switches into Aggron as Kiwi goes for Foul Play. And yeah, this is an over game. I'm sorry to inform you of this, but Kiwi loses this. There is no coming back from that. Umbreon's going for Protect, getting a little bit more leftovers recovery. Maybe the second one won't do 59%. We go into Stack Attacka, and it takes Body Press, even though it's ×4 super effective, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But, yeah, no, this is still over. But Kiwi's gonna get more leftovers recovery. Maybe Umbreon will live one, and then Bento Box will stop clicking Body Press. Well, neither of those things happened, and Bento Box wins the first one pretty easily there. Game 2. Alright, this time Kiwi will Starmie against Nidoking and clicks Hydro Pump and picks up a KO on the first turn. Very good job, Kiwi. Alright, now Kiwi's in Starmie. Blastoise comes in to click Shell Smash again. And let's see if Kiwi has learned from her mistakes. Well, Dark Pulse kills Starmie. Does Kiwi recognize that she has to go into Umbreon here? No. Kiwi is now going to go into Roserade and lose Roserade. And then Kiwi's going to go into Flygon and lose Flygon. And Blastoise dies, which means, you know, good job, Kiwi. You're on the board. But Chandelure, a Shadow Ball with a Scarf, doesn't KO the Alakazam in one hit, but it doesn't kill us back, so we have a chance here. We can actually win this. This is a winnable game. This is a very winnable game. What we need to do is we need to not sacrifice our whole Chandelure on this Zygarde. We probably needed to go into Umbreon there, and we also need to not go into a Pokemon that's ×4 weak to ground, and we probably don't click Protect for no reason on Umbreon, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. You know, it happens to the best of us. But now we can't beat Aromatisse in the back, and Kiwi is defeated by Body Press Aggron once again. Bento goes for Rocks, predicting Kiwi to click Protect excessively, as she has been doing. And yeah, Body Press just kills the Umbreon, and that's the match. Kiwi is defeated 2-0. Alright. Next up, we have Mr. Titan T versus Calrook. Now, chat, I will be honest. Calrook requested assistance from me in prep for this match. I looked over the prep and I messaged Calrook and I was like, dude, I'm gonna be real. You might be genuinely fucked here. Why? Calrook has 5 flying types in his draft. Mr. Titan T has Thunderous Therian and Mamoswine. So let's see what Calrook can do to not lose. Well, I did point out to Calrook, hey, you know what's pretty good here? Shell Smash Cloyster. You should use Cloyster and use Shell Smash. If you do that, your odds of winning this match increase dramatically. So let's see if Calrook's able to pull that off. So we have a Swellow lead versus a Cloyster. Swellow goes for Hidden Power, I'm guessing Electric. That doesn't do enough, and the Clam is going to Shell Smash and die because this is a Scarfed Swellow. Next up, we have Hat Lady, who comes in and clicks Hidden Power. I don't know what type. Probably Electric. No, it's actually can't be Electric, because this is neutral damage. I don't know what type of Hidden Power that was. Probably Rock, maybe? I don't know, but it's okay. We have Mach Punch Conkeldurr. It gets burned. And then we're going to switch out into Crobat to take a Moonblast and lose half of its HP for no particular reason. But hey, it's okay. Crobat can like get off a poison move here or just roost on the switch. We are probably faster than this thing, but instead of just killing it, we are going to switch. And Calrook does not understand what speed tiers are. So now our Conkeldurr is basically dead. And we did that for no particular reason. Good job, Calrook. Next is Moltres coming in, substituting, getting Icicle Crashed. What Calrook should do here is click Substitute again, but he didn't, which is actually correct because Mr. Titan T decided to go for Ice Shard. And we go for Hurricane, and we get a Confusion as we bring this thing down to its sash. Very cool. Now we have Gligar, which is weak to Ice times 4. And Cloudy and Acid Cloud, the Thundurus, uses Psychic on it. And we go into Moltres, and that forces out the Cloudy and Acid Cloud. We just go for Supersonic Sky Strike on an Electric type, because that would never kill. And now we're going to die to Ice Shard. And the rest of our Pokemon are also going to die to Ice Shard. But actually, instead we're going to go for Knockoff here. And we're going to sack our whole Mamoswine for Crobat. The Beedrill's gonna come in. This is just gonna get Brave Birded, right? Well, we have a knockoff on Crobat's Life Orb. Brave Bird's gonna kill the Beedrill. And Calrook could win this. If there is some sort of really strong poison move on Crobat, maybe there's a win. But, no, we go for Brave Bird, and that's not going to kill. And we lose game 1, due to the fact that we have 3 flying types. Now, let's see what happens in game 2. Maybe Calrook can turn this around and not blunder, you know, his whole Conkeldurr. Alright, so this time we lead the Clam, and then we switch against the Primarina, and we go straight into Crobat and let Crobat get Moonblast for 1,000,000 damage, and then we get off a Cross Poison, which does in fact kill the Primarina, and then we go for Brave Bird, which nearly kills the Haxorus. Then after it Dragon Dances, we go into Conkeldurr and Mach Punch it, which is a fantastic play, and then we leave Conkeldurr in against this Pokemon that has Psychic and that we know has Psychic. But it's okay, because we go into the Clam, we let it bring it to our sash, and then we Shell Smash, and at this point all we have to do is click Icicle Spear and all of Mr. Titan T's Pokemon die. All we have to do is click Icicle Spear and all of the Pokemon die. Ice Shard, yeah. Well, we did know that Tony Two Tusk had Ice Shard, so that does make sense. We go into Hat Lady, go for Shadow Ball, it doesn't do enough damage. We get knocked off and die, but it's okay, because maybe we can win this. Gligar's gonna come in, use U-turn on the B. We're gonna get to bring in our Moltres here. Moltres is probably gonna take a lot of damage from this U-turn, but Berserk triggers, and we go for our Z-move for no reason. Hurricane killed Beedrill. Hurricane killed Mamoswine. Why would we use our Z-move? What are we trying to catch there? Anyway, the Bee comes in and tries to use Pursuit on Moltres, which doesn't work. Moltres then dies to Focus Blast, and Mr. Titan T locked into Focus Blast with the last Pokemon being Gligar. And Focus Blast isn't gonna do enough because this Gligar has U-Turn to do damage and Roost to heal off the damage. All Calyrex needs to do is not throw. We have a dodged Focus Blast. We do go for Roost there. Very good play. And yeah. Eventually, this thing will U-turn this Thundurus to death. Eventually. It just might take a little bit, you know? It is what it is, right? And, oh, Thundurus is out of Focus Blasts. It's time to die to struggle. Woohoo! Very fun. And Calyrex is able to get a game on the board against Mr. Titan T, which is pretty surprising, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, now Calyrex just needs to stick to the game plan. Calyrex just needs to stick to the game plan. Basically kill Primarina and don't get Ice Sharded and you win. All you have to do is do those two things and you win with the Cloyster. Well, this time Calyrex leads Crobat against the Primarina. Huge play for Calyrex. Did he click a poison move? No, he decides to try and over-predict and go for Brave Bird. I mean, if Primarina just stayed in and killed him, that would have been a disaster. And this Haxorus reveals that it is Choice Scarfed. And Calyrex brings in the Clam and uses Ice Shard. That's a good usage of Ice Shard. Now we should switch. And we do switch. And Tony Two Tusk goes for Superpower. And our Conkeldurr is going to get burned, which is pretty good for us. We go for Mach Punch. We didn't need to go for Mach Punch, but we did it anyway. We could have used a fighting move that was stronger than Mach Punch, or even Facade there. And now we are letting this Thundurus use its Nasty Plot, and also its Z move, which kills our Gligar instantly. Now we go into Cloyster, which has a Focus Sash, and Calyrex just uses Ice Shard for some reason instead of Shell Smash. And then he's going to use Ice Shard again because he has to at this point. And then we go into our Conkeldurr, get our Flame Orb knocked off, but that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. We get a good Drain Punch here. We get to heal. But we go for Mach Punch instead. And we get a crit that brings this thing down to its Sash, but it doesn't matter. We should have gone for Drain Punch. And Primarina is going to come in, and at this point, Calyrex just clicking moves. And Facade one-shots the Primarina, and this Conkeldurr was actually Speed EV'd to outspeed the Primarina by 2. Just in case the Primarina somehow ran 4 speed EVs. But, tragically, it didn't matter because Calyrex now has a 1 HP Cloyster and a Moltres against a Flying type and an Electric type, ignoring the Mega Beedrill entirely. And once again, Calyrex wastes his Z move on a Pokemon that dies in 1 hit to anything, and, we get Thunderbolted, and that's GG. We can go for Ice Shard, but at this point, it doesn't matter. This thing survives, and Calyrex doesn't even go for the Ice Shard, taking the chance to get a kill. Now, if I remember correctly, Calyrex did use Ice Shard on this thing earlier. I think it was in this game. Let's see here. Where is it? Gligar, Focus Blast, Focus Blast, Focus Blast. Where is the Ice Shard? I want to see if that killed. Shadow Ball. Ice Shard. Ice Shard does 19% to Tony Two Tusk. And it probably had a chance to kill the 20% Tony Two Tusk. But instead, Calyrex decided, no, I'm not even going to click that. Why would I? Next game. Next up, we have Plasma versus Crystal Wolf. Probably the 2 favorites to win the whole event that aren't me. Crystal Wolf, still undefeated. Plasma, not undefeated, but accumulating points and getting a really, really strong team going. So let's see how this goes. Alright, so game 1, we have Plasma leading this at Azelf, and we have a switch instantly into Silvally Steel on Basic Rat the Cincino. Basic Rat goes for Tail Slap, which hits Silvally 5 times, and Silvally is going to use Parting Shot to get in probably Azelf. Okay, is the Specs Azelf maybe? It could be. But the Manaphy is going for Tail Glow, and that's not what you want because this Azelf is hitting you with strong attacks, and it is also not specs, as we go for Psyshock on the switch, and then U-turn into our very powerful Swampert. And now we flip turn into Glastrier as the Audino just goes for Wish. And, I mean, let's be honest, we all knew that the Audino was gonna have Wish. And we reveal Fighting Z move on our Ice Horse. Now, if we had just been Icium Z, it would have killed any Pokemon on Crystal Wolf's team. I don't know why we were Fighting Z, but we were. But it's okay, because, you know, Charizard goes for Fire Blast. We just go into our Porygon. Porygon takes nothing. The Rat comes in, and then we go into our Silvally Steel on the Rat. Nidoqueen is now in, and it's going to get up rocks, and then we're going to get up our own rocks, and Nidoqueen's going for Toxic Spikes. Plasma without a Defogger, and these spikes and these rocks are very painful. They are very, very painful. Oh, wait, hold on. Is Silvally Steel the Defogger? Do we run the Defogger on Silvally Steel? Well, we have seen the Silvally Steel be multi-attack Flame Charge U-turn before, so, you know, I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility, and it is, in fact, a Defogger. Very cool. Alright, and then we dodge a Tail Slap, which is absolutely huge because we do 66% to this Rat, and then we die to the next Tail Slap. And at this point, if we have like a priority move or anything scarfed or something, but we don't seem to have that, so we just go into our Ampharos, attempting a Volt Switch. Nidoqueen predicts that very easily and traps us because we are an electric type, and guess what? Those hazards are going back up, boys! And now at this point, we're going to teleport into Glastrier, which is going to get poisoned normally. We've already used our Z move, and honestly, we can just protect, but Plasma gets a huge read, goes for Swords Dance on the Wish Protect, and at this point, Crystal Wolf's in some danger. Sacks Charizard just to survive another turn of Trick Room. Audino might come back in here to click Protect and run out that last turn, but it's okay because Plasma's going to take this time to switch into our Azelf, and at this point, the Audino Mega evolves, uses Knockoff, gets rid of that Expert Belt, which is interesting. I gotta say, it's an interesting choice. We're gonna U-turn, and we go into our Swampert, but at this point, the residual damage from these toxic spikes is gonna be pretty overwhelming. Audino gets roared out into Nidoqueen. This thing survives Scald easily. It also survives Earthquake easily, but instead, Wolfie's just going to go into, you know, Audino again. And yeah, all of the Pokemon are now poisoned. There's no aromatherapy on Plasma's team. And we are just gonna get whittled down over time. And essentially, it's on Plasma to find a way to cleanly break through this Audino. If this Audino is broken through, and somehow this thing is still alive and can get up Trick Room, the Ice Horse can win the battle. But, yeah, it's just not looking like that's about to happen. We go for Icicle Crash as this thing goes for Knockoff. We are a Z-move user, so... And now we Swords Dance as it uses Wish. And we should Swords Dance again because this Protect is obvious, but we don't. And we do not get to pick up the kill on the Audino due to the lack of the additional Swords Dance. And at this point, it's over. It's just over. Your Pokemon are too low. The Nidoqueen's just going to come in and Earth Power you, and then Azelf has to come in, and then, you know, we just sack any Pokemon to this, and then we go into Cinccino, which is probably Scarfed, and then we just Tail Slap. And yeah, yeah, it's over. This Ampharos, I mean, honestly, at this point, you can trade the Cinccino for chip damage. I mean, Cinccino's at 10%, it's not coming back in anyway. So we do Tail Slap, and at this point, we can go into either the Rat or the Nidoqueen. Either or wins the game. Nidoqueen with Earth Power, the Rat with literally just attacking. And game one's gonna go to Crystal Wolf. So, yeah. Let's see if Plasma's able to turn things around in game 2. Well, instantly I see Florges, which means Aromatherapy is back on the table, and we are going to be able to get rid of those pesky statuses that whittled our team down so much over time. So we have the Florges lead, I think, versus knockoff U-turn, and in comes the Nidoqueen. After that, we are going to Wish, and then we are going to go into Ice Horse. Ice Horse is going to Icicle Crash on the switch, which nearly kill. Well, it doesn't nearly kill, but it does way more damage than I thought it would to this Pawmot, I'm going to be honest. But it's okay, because Pawmot's going to close combat, and that's going to pick up a KO on the Swampert pretty easily. In comes our Azelf. That's probably banded damage from the Pawmot, to be honest. We're going to go for Size Shock, and then U-turn, as this thing is going to just Wish on our switch. We were a little bit too passive there because Moonblast isn't killing this thing, and we get Toxic Poison for our troubles, as this thing's just going to heal out of range. Nidoqueen's going to come in as we Wish again, and we are Toxic Poisoned, rocks are up, and we cannot defog off these rocks easily because our Silvally is probably Silvally Steel. So we have to go into Porygon here. Toxic Spikes go up, we go for Trick Room. Charizard's gonna come in as we teleport. We bring in Florges, which is an interesting choice. I would imagine that this thing just dies to Fire Blast. Well, Florges is gonna defog and then die to Overheat. Not Fire Blast, but Overheat. So we have the hazards gone. Ice Horse comes in and clicks Swords Dance in front of the Charizard with halved special attack. And we do survive because the special attack is halved. And yeah, that's just a sacrifice to Charizard, to be honest. I mean, you got rid of the hazards. What more could you want? Pawmot's gonna come in and just click Close Combat, finishing off the Ice Horse to prevent it from, sweeping you. And now Azelf's gonna come in, click Size Shock. Nidoqueen genuinely survives at 1 HP, but it's okay because the follow-up Energy Ball works here. We are gonna U-turn out on the Sarina, which, now we have Queenly Majesty on our Porygon, which prevents us from, getting priority moved. But I have bad news. Pawmot. Switch into Audino every time you see Azelf, and Pawmot will win this game. So, yeah. You could just Wish, Protect. We Mega Evolved, so now we die to Multi-Attack. But that's okay, because we have a basic Rat, and we can just, use this to get off Tail Slap, I guess. This could be Crystal Wolf's only move. I don't think Tail Slap would have been the correct click. I mean, unless it just has nothing for a Steel type, which is a non-zero chance. We could have genuinely gone into Pawmot here. Instead, Parting Shot happens, and we knock off on the incoming Azelf, which also will do the job, because Parting Shot switching into Azelf is pretty much game-ending chip damage on the Azelf. Now Pawmot at any point can come back in and just click Close Combat for the remainder of the game. We go for Mach Punch. I genuinely could not tell you why we went for Mach Punch there. I mean, Close Combat was a game ender. I don't know. But hey, you know what? It's not me. I'm not the one playing. I guess I can't make judgments for the decisions made in the actual battle. Either way, it does still work out for Crystal Wolf. And Crystal Wolf is able to defeat Plasma 2-0, still undefeated, aside from the 2 dropped games. Good job, Crystal Wolf. Next up, we have Juvenile versus Kitsune. Juvenile very strongly on the copium, trying his best to still make the playoffs. Juvenile, I believe, is currently in 9th place, so it's a non-zero chance that he makes it. So, we have Lead Steelix versus Lead Landorus, and we Mega Evolve and take a crit Earthquake, and we get Ice Fang back, and somehow this Mega Steelix scares out the Pokemon that killed us with Earthquake if it just clicked Earthquake again. And as a result, we are able to get off. We have a double switch situation, actually. Arcanine comes in on the Weezing. Arcanine gets off of Psychic Fangs as Weezing uses Strange Steam. Then we have a switch into Alomomola as Arcanine just uses Psychic Fangs again. We go into Copelion as Alomomola just uses Wish. and Keldeo comes in, and here we go. We have Keldeo, we have incoming Mega Banette to survive the fighting move, and yeah, a dark type is just sent in against Mega Banette because Juvenile struggles with Pokemon that are immune to Prankster. So, yeah, that's probably going to continue being a trend. For whatever reason, Juvenile decides to switch off of Close Combat and use Iron Head there, and try to Thunder Wave the incoming Mega Steelix. Superpower, and that does no damage whatsoever, and we die because our defense is halved thanks to Superpower. And Earthquake is going to do not enough to kill this Steelix because we let it heal to full off of Wish, and in comes Ludwig, the Iron Jugulis, not the Hydreigon, the Iron Jugulis, and we are going to click Dragon Pulse, and we are going to click Dragon Pulse and then get Bolt Beaked by this ridiculous Dracozolt. Arcanine's gonna come in and dodge Hustle Bolt Beak and pick up the KO with Play Rough. Very good. We can win the game now, maybe. This thing's paralyzed. We have Psychic Fangs. Is it parried? It is parried. We can win the game. We can win the game. Psychic Fangs. Okay, winnable. Do we have an electric move? We have Wild Charge. That does nothing. Alright, we need to get out of there. We need to not stay in right now. We need to do anything but stay in. We need this Arcanine. Psychic Fangs is too good on the Weezing. We need the Psychic Fangs. We just need to stop clicking Wild Charge. All we need to do is switch into the Porygon and use like a Nasty Plot and a Z-move, and this Alomomola will die. We don't need to lose our whole Arcanine for free, Juvenile. We don't need to, but we decided to lose our whole Arcanine for free instead. And go into Banette, which is the only Pokemon that doesn't win here. But it's okay. You know, maybe we can find a way to win because Juvenile sees something that I don't see. Maybe Juvenile is running... Okay, he's running Psychic on the Mega Banette. Okay, that's cool. Sludge Wave, not very effective. Doesn't break the Banette substitute. And we're probably just hard-walled by Muckalola. Dark is immune to Prankster moves. As I said earlier, Juvenile will hopefully one day learn that Dark is immune to Prankster moves. And we go for Destiny Bond at this point, and we don't pick up the kill on Muck, and we can't use Destiny Bond again, and we lose our Banette. And now we have full HP Assault Vest Muck versus Porygon Z. And Porygon Z is actually scarfed with Hyper Beam for some reason. And yeah, that doesn't work. I'm sorry to inform you that that's not going to work for you, Juvenile, and you have severely blundered that one. Game 1 goes to Kitsune. You gave up your whole Arcanine for free. Alright, game 2. We have the same lead as last time, but this time we go for Earthquake, and it crits again, surprisingly, as the Steelix goes for Ice Fang, which does even more damage than the last one. And we switch into another Pokemon that's weak to Ice, as Kitsune switches into a Pokemon that is weak to... I don't know. We had a double switch there, which I guess works. And we go for Charge Beam, which is very interesting. We are Quark Drive boosting our speed and Charge Beam boosting our special attack. We are going to go for Charge Beam again. And I believe Charge Beam has a 70% to boost your special attack every time it is used. And at this point we are at ×2, and we click Earth Power, predicting the switch to Mega Steelix. This Toxic is doing a lot of damage, and we switch as Protect is used, which, you know, that's pretty good for us. We go for Thunder Wave on the Alomomola, which would have genuinely done nothing. But that's okay, because we have an Arcanine to get Will-O-Wisp, and that's immune to Will-O-Wisp, which is very good. We go for Psychic Fangs, and I wonder if Juvenile is going to click Wild Charge again. No, Juvenile has learned from his mistakes. We switch into Copalion, which is immune to Toxic. We're going to go for Zen Headbutt for some inexplicable reason. We get a flinch, which is very cool. We go for Zen Headbutt again, and we get Scald, and we don't get burned, which is good. Good job, Juvenile. You didn't get burned. And now Juvenile, after, you know, 15 turns of Alomomola, figures out, wait, I have a Pokemon that does special attacks. And now we switch into Banette as Bolt Breaker is brought in. We are going to Mega Evolve and use Substitute and this is going to Bolt Beak us. And at this point, Juvenile is going to switch, as it's now stuck using Bolt Beak, because I can only assume that it is Scarfed. We use Earthquake on the Alomomola, which is, you know, pretty good for us, I suppose. Get some chip off. Scald, you know, still no burn. We dodge the burn again, and once again, Juvenile goes for Thunder Wave, because that's all Juvenile knows how to do, is use Thunder Wave. And we paralyze the Alomomola, which is a Pokemon that really does not care about being paralyzed. And we go into the Porygon and use Ice Beam, predicting they switch to the Dracozolt. We do get the good prediction. And now we go into Landorus to click Body Slam, trying to get those paralyzes. As we predicted, the Dracozolt was going to use Bolt Beak, which we did end up getting. Very good. And now the Alomomola is just going to click Protect, just to see what Juvenile's going to do. Juvenile decides to lock into Tri-Attack, which is a 2-hit KO. Kitsune decides to use Scald. And yeah, that Scald's going to burn. Not really too big of a deal. Kitsune could have just done this the whole time, though. And now Juvenile is going to sacrifice his win condition against the Alomomola. But hey, you know, Juvenile made a read on Pursuit, and that's really good. Alright, so after this burn kills us, all of Kitsune's team's really low. And, you know, at this point, Arcanine looks pretty good here. Or, you know, as long as you don't lose the entire game to this Dracozolt right here, you should be good. We go into Landorus, which reveals its Choice Scarf and uses Earthquake, picking up the kill. Earthquake's gonna do a lot of chip on this as well. And how do we lose this game if we are Juvenile? Well, we could go into Cobalion and risk the entire game on a speed tie. You know, that's a way you could lose the game. You know, you could let in the Alomomola and let it wish pass to the Muck. You could continue trying to use Prankster moves on Dark types. You could sacrifice all of your HP and lose your whole Banette for free. But hey, you know what? We have Destiny Bond. You know, that works. And Kitsune seems to have forgotten about Destiny Bond. So, due to that, Juvenile actually is in a pretty decent spot here. But then we go into our Toxic Poisoned Iron Jugulus, which has this problem against Protect Alomomola, which is going to click Wish, and then Protect. And then, as long as this Protect doesn't get parried, Kitsune unfortunately loses the game to an unfortunately timed paralysis. Very unlucky for Kitsune. Despite Juvenile's best efforts to throw the game, Kitsune still was unable to pick up the win, and Juvenile gets game 2. What about game 3, the final game of this match? Well, this time we lead the Arcanine versus the Rock Snake to get off and Intimidate and use Flare Blitz, which does half. And then die to Earthquake, right? But the Steelix goes for Stealth Rocks. Oh, hold on. Stealth Rocks? And then we have a switch into a Alomomola on the Iron Jugulus again. No Charge Beam boost this time. And we're just gonna instantly switch because we're terrified, and we're going to, you know, we're gonna switch on a Protect turn, and now we're gonna switch again on what I can only assume is a Scald turn. And our Cobalion is very good at avoiding getting burned. I will say that. We are extremely good at dodging burns on Cobalion. And now we're gonna go into Landorus and let this thing Scald us just to get off these rocks. We do need to get rid of them, I suppose, so it makes sense. Porygon's gonna come in, and at this point, half of our team has taken some damage, or a substantial amount of damage, as this Alomomola has just clicked Scald, Protect, Scald, Wish, Scald, Scald, Scald on Juvenile's entire draft. And, yeah, now it's gonna get off a Wish. We're gonna, you know, Wish Protect, get some Burn Chip off, and we're actually gonna Wish Pass into the Steelix, which is going to take less than half from Earthquake, as we have seen every time from this Landorus, and Landorus is gonna die. Juvenile's Defogger is gone. Alomomola comes back in to take literally 0 damage from Flare Blitz, and I don't know about you guys, but this one already looks over to me. I'm gonna be real. This already looks over. Juvenile is going to continue trying to click Thunder Wave because it is the only way Juvenile can win is if his opponent takes multiple turns not moving. You don't want to see that. You really don't. Earth Power doesn't kill. We get off an Ice Fang, and between Ice Fang and literally switching to anything, this thing is going to die. And it does. Porygon Z comes in. We're going to click Protect just to see what Porygon Z locks into. Try Attack, probably the best click here for Juvenile. It kills the Alomomola, very good. But at this point, like, what do we bring in? We can bring in Muck to wall it. We can bring in Keldeo with a Choice Scarf to outspeed it and kill it. We can bring in Scarf Bolt Beak Boy to kill it. We go into Muck. Muck is then going to come in on, I forget what move. And then Cobalion gets knocked off, boosting its attack. And then, you know, we just... Oh no, that's not good. You don't want to see that. Wait a second. Hold on. What happened here? So we had a free turn in Banette, and instead of Mega Evolving and going for Prankster Destiny Bond, we didn't Mega Evolve and died to a Z move. Good choice by Juvenile. Now Scald and Keldeo has a 50-50 to outspeed and one-shot this Cobalion. It does, and Porygon can't beat the Muck. And it also just dies to the... Keldeo. And Kitsune wins the match 2-1 over Juvenile, who was unable to stop blundering every single game. And we have the final match that was played of Week 10. Once again, Wisty did not end up playing her match against Fabled, so Fabled did receive the forfeit win over Wisty. And the final match is myself versus Zexal. So let's see what happened. It is up to Zexal to prevent me from going 20 wins and 0 losses. So I lead with Indeedee, and I'm going to click Mystical Fire turn 1, because this thing can't really hurt me, especially if I reduce its special attack a couple of times. So I'm going to continue clicking Mystical Fire on all of Zexal's Pokemon. Very cool. And Melodic comes in. I'm going to click Expanding Force and dodge a Toxic. The Toxic didn't matter too much, because, you know, what is Toxic going to do here? Nothing really. I'm just going to keep clicking attacks until this Melodic dies. The Melodic does in fact die, and I'm going to go into Gardevoir because I don't want to get murdered by a Mienshao. It uses Knockoff, which doesn't kill. Well, here's the thing. I did the math. Knockoff, the first one, does 55%, right? Which means that the next one, on average, should do roughly 37%. But then the second knockoff crits me, and I lose my Gardevoir for free. So, very cool. Vaporeon's gonna come in now. We're gonna go for Scald, try and get a Scald Burn on the Mienshao. We do succeed in that. And I thought about clicking Protect here. I decided against it, because, you know, if it uses Sword Stance again, I could just lose Vaporeon. And I do pick up the KO on the Mienshao, and then I go into Sapsipper Goodra to be immune to Leaf Storm. And this Goodra defeats this thing one-on-one because I am immune to its boosting abilities, which is very cool for me. Zexal, instead of switching, just decides to lose the Superior, and that makes my job a lot easier. Staraptor can come in and Brave Bird my Goodra at this point. I just want the recoil damage. And I just go back into Indeedee, to sacrifice it, to be honest. And yeah, Hawlucha is going to come in at this point, and this beats the rest of the team. Quick Attack goes through because I'm immune to ground. It's okay though, I'm clicking Acrobatics. Dusclops comes in. I could go for Knockoff. I could go for Acrobatics. I decided to go for Acrobatics because the only way I lose this game is blundering my Absol, and I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to let this Dusclops kill my Hawlucha, so I can go into Absol for free and kill the rest of Zexal's team. So game 1 goes to me with Absol. And we'll see how game 2 goes. Maybe game 2 will go a little bit better for Zexal. Maybe game 2 will, you know, be the end of the Cupid 19 game at this point win streak. We will see. Alright, so this time I lead the Absol, and Zexal leads the Staraptor, and I'm like, oh, that's bad. I better go into Vaporeon, and I do go into Vaporeon, as this thing goes for close combat, and I'm like, very cool. I'm gonna click Scald now, and it just goes for Brave Bird, and I'm like, cool, sweet. I picked up the KO on Staraptor, and I have a Vaporeon in. I better sacrifice this Vaporeon, just in case this thing goes to try and predict me. I bring in Absol as a result. I'm going to Mega Evolve and click Knockoff, taking an item, and I take the Egg-Waft Berry from this Whimsicott, and I'm like, sweet, cool, Indeedee time. It is time for Indeedee to click Mystical Fire on all of the Pokemon of Zexal Arc's draft. This time Mienshao comes in, I click Mystical Fire again, and I'm like, alright, sweet. Now I'm going to try and click an attack, predicting Zexal Arc to go for a Swords Dance. I do not get the read correctly, but it's okay, because this time my Gardevoir is at full health, doesn't get knocked off on the switch, and yeah, I'm gonna just click Expanding Force a couple of times, you know, as a treat. Most Pokemon do not survive Expanding Force, however, this thing does, which is very important to note, and I have one turn of my terrain left, so I'm gonna just go hard into a Hawlucha, and, you know, trust that I don't get Scald Burned, and I'm gonna try and set up on this thing. And if I do get Scald Burned, it really doesn't matter too much, because, you know, Absol in the back just beats this, provided I don't get Scald Burned on that too. And neither one burns, and at this point I have a Swords Dance up, I have Acrobatics, and Cottony comes in and paralyzes me, but it doesn't matter anymore at this point, because I just need to get off as much damage as possible. And yeah, Absol wins. So Zexal is unable to defeat me, and I at this point have won 20 games straight, and I have made a shocking discovery about my draft. It is very, very weak compared to the other drafts of this league. So I have decided at this point that I am going to throw a couple of matches and try and get my team ready for the playoffs. So at the end of this, that is all of the matches of this week. We had a couple of free agent moves that occurred. The free agent moves are Antkiller picks up Diggersby and drops Quagsire, and Plasma decides to drop Rotom Mow to pick up Wo-Chien. And those are all of the free agent moves that happened. There's not really much to cover as far as those are concerned. Those are just what happened. And yeah, I mean, overall, gotta say the matches this week were pretty good. And I may have been having a lot of fun in first place and being undefeated, but I have decided that it is time that I get myself ready for the playoffs. So, expect some Cupid not really trying very hard for the remainder of the season until the playoffs. Beyond that, though, I've got to say, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really grateful for everyone who has stuck around thus far, and I hope to see you guys for next week's recap. Later.